Hey everyone, welcome back to Pearl Media. Today we're reacting to a Kevin Samuels video with some honest, unfiltered thoughts. Let's get right into it.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How old are you?
So I'm 23 years old.
All right. So you see the question on the floor. Are you single or are you married?
Currently single.
So you're married. Okay. So how important is sex to you in a relationship when choosing a long-term partner?
Sex, I feel like is one of the least important things in a relationship. It's
Okay.
underneath everything else, honestly, in my opinion. I've dealt with a lot of men that I guess were kind of like sex addicts in a way, and I just I feel like it's
Okay. I need you. Hold on. I need you to leave the phone steady. Okay. There you go. Go ahead.
so the men I've dealt with in the past, I guess, some of them, I mean, I just feel like especially men my age are kind of addicted to sex. And as a woman, I feel like I can handle that on my own. I really don't need like the relationship to be controlled by your penis or by, my parts. Like I really personally don't care. My most recent relationship, I dealt with him for 9 months and we probably had sex a total of 4 times. And towards the end of the relationship, I'm not gonna
Four
lie.
times over 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said some things that I'm going to chime back on. You said men your age seem to be addicted to sex. Now it's called testosterone. They're not addicted. Men are hardwired to want sex. And one of the big problems is so many women today are so disconnected from who we are as men, y'all shame us for being naturally men. We produce millions of sperm. You come preloaded with your eggs. We wake up with an erection. We can have sex several times a day. Now, I can understand it not being a priority, but if you say you were in a relationship for 9 months and you had sex 4 times, many people want to have sex 4 times a week.
So his pitch was that he was doing like a semen, what's it called? A semen retention?
Okay, but you chose to accept it.
I did.
Okay, so are you good in bed?
I think so. I don't want to. Yes.
Well, see, why? I'm going to ask all you women: are you good in bed? How do you know you're good in bed?
The responses that I get, shoot, the way I feel during sex, the way they feel afterwards, during, I don't
Because they
know.
have an orgasm.
I mean, they do every time. I don't.
Well, that's how men. But man, that's
Yeah.
how men are wired. Uh, I'm trying to balance the conversation, but many women, young or old, y'all are very arrogant when it comes to your sexual performance. So because a man has an erection because he has an orgasm, y'all think y'all are good in bed. Do you make room for the possibility that you are below average in bed?
Yeah.
But then why would you say you're good?
I mean, I don't go promoting. Like, I'm not one of those that's like, but
Have you ever met a woman who said she wasn't good in bed? Excuse me. Have you ever met a black woman who never? Okay.
mm-mm.
So do you think that's reasonable? Do you think that's rational? You think every woman you've ever met, you think all women are good in bed?
I think that's a stupid question.
Who the fuck you talking to?
Do you think
Who the fuck you talking to?
in bed?
Check that out. Hold on. Who you think you talking to?
I didn't mean to. I was just saying, I think in general, when men ask that question, it's just, what's the answer you're looking for?
Self-awareness that you ain't the shit, trick. Watch who you talking to. I was polite. But to say it's a stupid question minimizes men. How come it's okay for you women to question whether or not a man is good in bed? And that's completely fine. You gotta have an anaconda, girl. Women can talk about size, girth, length, sexual prowess, what he must do, and that's completely okay. But if a man simply asks, "Are you proficient?" that's stupid. Let's reset the table, okay? Watch what you say, though. That's just rude. And you're 23. You can't talk to me that way. But let's just say you're a mother one day, okay? And you have a son. Would you want women to think about his concerns the way you just addressed men's concerns?
My son's concerns?
Yeah, like if you wanted, if you asked a woman if she was good in bed, you said, "Don't ask a woman that, son. That's a stupid question." Would you tell that to your son?
I just feel like I'm going to teach my sons not to think with their dick, you know?
So you're going to teach your son to not be a man?
Not to let his decisions be influenced by his...
Man, I'm not trying to be rude, but you are so wrong here. And this is the part of the problem in our community. You can't teach men to not, so you want your son to be a girl.
Absolutely.
So do you understand what male sexual desire is?
I do.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing.
Really? So what are you talking about? Teaching him to not think with his dick. Our dick is the reason you've got cars and air conditioning. What I'm trying to get you to understand is so many of you women are so dismissive of men when it comes to who we are. But then y'all talk about toxic masculinity. This is toxic femininity. But y'all don't see it that way. So let's get back to it. You said you had sex 4 times in 9 months, and you guys were in a committed relationship?
To me, yeah. It was exclusive. But
let me go ahead and help you out.
it was exclusive, but he tried to pitch the semen retention kind of thing, and I went for it because I personally agree. I believe that when men withhold an erection, I guess it keeps you more focused and all these things. You know what they be saying. But after months, went by, like weeks would go by. I'm not one to care. I don't throw my body on people, but after I've been dealing with one person for so long, it was just kind of like, are you not attracted to me? Are you not, you know what I mean? Like it was
No, I don't know. What I'm not understanding is what on one hand you're saying you're okay with him practicing this semen retention stuff in the context of a relationship, and then in another breath you're talking about it made you feel insecure.
Yeah, I took it back after a while because it dragged on.
But man, I'm talking about how high the sex rank in a relationship, and to me, what I'm hearing is we don't even, in the context of this, y'all don't even know what a healthy sex life is. And that's part of the problem. A lot of young people, we expect y'all to be more mature, and 4 times in 9 months, there was no reason to have 4 times in 9 months in a committed relationship. That's crazy. That's not a healthy sex life.
Yeah.
So, were you raised with mom and dad?
Yes, both parents.
How long were they married?
20 years. They're still married.
So, if you're married, how often would you like to have sex with your husband? How frequently?
I could go for once a day, once every other day. That seems healthy and normal to me.
For a lifetime.
A lifetime?
So let's just say over a 10-year period. Let's just say over a decade. The first decade, how often would you like to have sex?
The first decade, I feel like once a day would be healthy.
Once a day, so that's 365 days a year.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Cut off.
Plan on having children?
Yeah, I plan on having children.
Okay. How's that going to be possible?
I'm kind of fertile. I mean, I'm not going to say that. It's
But ma'am, I just need, I mean, see, what I'm trying to get you to understand is, and it's not your fault, but women, y'all don't think about it. Y'all just say stuff. Y'all don't think about the numbers and the logistics. And I'm like, 300, you have your cycle once a month. You're talking about pregnancy, but you're saying, so if a man wanted to marry you and you wanted to marry that man and you set the expectation of having sex once a day, and then you fell off of that and it became half as frequent, would that be okay?
for that. I guess it depends whose decision it is. If I'm being honest.
Why would that depend on who decides? If a man sets an expectation he's going to do something and he turns around and does half of it, is that ever okay?
Nope.
Thank you. See, what I'm showing folks is women don't put any thought into who we are. You guys set expectations based upon how you feel in the moment. And men are just supposed to adjust it. Ladies, listen to me well. You guys need to start understanding who men are sexually and what we're capable of. And then understand that when we get with you, one of the men's biggest fears is that they'll get with you and you'll cut off sex. And I'll be honest, man, the way you're talking, whether you intend it or not, women who like you men have the experience that women like you tend to use sex as a weapon.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, it may not be you, but my goal is to have you ladies understand who men are. But you say sex isn't that important, but then you say you want to have it once a day. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm not gonna lie, the once a day part would really be just to satisfy my man. I could go months.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Have a good day, man.
All right, let's talk about this one because it was wild from start to finish. Not because she was combative, but because she was completely disconnected from reality. She's 23, still young, still early in the game, but already talking like she's seen it all. In her take, sex is one of the least important parts of a relationship. Now that sounds deep until you hear the rest. She says most of the men she's dealt with were sex addicts. She says she's great in bed, but then casually drops this bombshell: she's never had an orgasm. And Kevin, you already know he didn't let that slide. So let me get this straight. You think you're good in bed, but you've never actually enjoyed the act. You think men are the problem, but you don't even know what satisfaction looks like. That's the kind of contradiction that defines a lot of modern dating talk. People repeating phrases they don't understand, labeling others as addicts because they expect a healthy level of intimacy, and putting their own dysfunction on a pedestal like it's insight. Kevin gave her the reality check she needed. Sex isn't everything in a relationship, but it's not irrelevant, especially to men who rank it high in emotional connection, peace, and bonding. Saying it doesn't matter because you've never experienced it properly isn't wisdom, it's inexperience. And here's where Kevin went deeper. If you're 23, having sex, claiming you're amazing at it but you've never climaxed, how are you measuring your value? What exactly are you basing your confidence on? That's the uncomfortable truth a lot of women avoid. Just because a man sleeps with you doesn't mean you're good at sex. Just because a man wants sex doesn't mean he's a sex addict. Sometimes he's just a man with normal, healthy expectations. And if every man you meet seems obsessed with it, maybe it's because that's all you're bringing to the table. Not depth, not cooperation, not peace. And Kevin made it plain. You've built your identity on an act you don't even understand. And now you're trying to rewrite relationship priorities around your personal disappointment. Bottom line, at 23, she still has time to learn. But if she keeps walking around thinking she's the expert when she hasn't even figured herself out yet, she'll just keep cycling through failed situations, blaming men, and never looking in the mirror. Sex matters. Not everything, but it matters. And if you're dismissing something as unimportant just because you haven't experienced it correctly, that's not enlightenment. That's delusion. Kevin gave her what no one else would. Not comfort, not flattery, truth. And hopefully she takes it and grows.